Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Creating Happy. Uh, we are finishing up our series of past, present, and future, which of course means that today we are talking about the future. And the biggest thing that we really want to know is how can we look to the future not without sacrificing the present moment, right? Because we know that from last week that the present is the only thing that's real. The future and the past are not happening. We're not experiencing them right now. The present is where we live. So, how can we look to the future and create a future without forgetting about and enjoying what we are currently experiencing? I want you to think a moment about your childhood, okay? When we're kids, we are kind of not really told, but we have this basic idea of what we're going to be doing, right? We are going to go to school, and then we're going to graduate high school, and then we might go to college, and we're going to maybe have a family, right? You're going to get married, you're going to have kids, maybe you're going to have a career, right? We spend a lot of time as children kind of just we can't wait to get to that next milestone, right? We can't wait to be 16 and we can get our license. We can't wait to be 18 and be able to move out of the house. Basically, our lives were really dynamic. They were always changing. We always knew that something was, as we grew, we were going to have different stages in our lives. And we would dream about those things, right? We'd dream about what it would be like to drive a car. And we would dream about what it would be like to go to college or to have a family. And we didn't know exactly what it was going to be like. Obviously, we had like limited knowledge in these areas, but we had an idea of what we wanted, where we wanted to go, and what we wanted to create in our lives. Now, I want you to think of a time in your life where you felt like you were the happiest, where you were the most balanced, kind of where you felt like you had the most control. Okay. Um, Maybe it was in college where you were out of your parents' house and you were kind of making your own decisions and you had lots of opportunities to meet new friends and do different social activities. Maybe it was when you landed a job that you really wanted, that you'd been trying to get for a while. Maybe it's when you got married or when you had kids, or maybe it was earlier than that. Maybe it was before you graduated and life was just so carefree. It's going to be different for all of us, but we all have this time of our lives where we felt like we were balanced and in control, and the whole world was at our fingertips, basically. And now I want you to think about your life as it is right now. Where are you right now in life, and are you enjoying where you are right now? What are the types of struggles you've got going on right now? How are you dealing with those struggles? Why do you feel the way you do? And how does it contrast to that time in your life where you felt you were most balanced? Now, some of you may be thinking like life is good right now and it's better than it was before, or that this is the time of your life where you feel most balanced. But for many of us, it may be that the past experience that we have was better than the place where we currently are, and we kind of just want to get back to that place, right? Back to where we were feeling those good feelings and feeling in control and feeling balanced and happy, right? We just wish we could get back there. And how do we do that? But here's the thing. You can't go back. You can never go back. You're a different person now than you were during that time of your life, okay? You're wiser, you're more experienced, you have different perspectives, and things are never going to be quite the same. It's kind of like losing weight. Like if you want to get back to your like pre-pregnancy weight, and then you lose all the weight to get back there, but your body's different. It's just, it looks different. So what I want to suggest is that you can look back on the past with fondness. You can look back on it to gain information and knowledge. You can maybe mourn the loss of that past self, if that's something that you need to do to move forward. But the past was not better than the present, and your future is not going to necessarily be better than your present or your past. It's all going to be 50-50, right? We're going to have good experiences and not so good experiences, and we're going to learn from both, because that's how life works. But what you've got to ask yourself is, do I just want to go with the flow and let life happen to me? Or do I want to be in charge and control where I go and decide where I go? A really good analogy is thinking about like the world as an ocean, okay? And you are in a boat in the ocean and the waves are moving you, okay? You cannot stay in one spot. That is for sure. Life is always changing. You can't just stay in one spot on this ocean. The waves are going to move you to and fro, okay? And you can just go with the waves and let them take you wherever that may be. Or you can start rowing your boat. You can choose where you want to go and you can row there. And life is going to maybe beat back on you, right? These waves are going to come. They're going to maybe push you in a different direction. But as long as you continue to row, focusing on that place that you want to go, you are going to make progress toward it, and eventually you'll get there, right? So what do you think about the future? What kind of possibilities do you think about? Do you even think about the future at all? Do you think about like the future as it relates to specific areas of your life, like your career or your family, or like what home you're going to be in, or how much money you're going to make, or things like that, right? In specific areas. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest. When I was a kid, and I say kid, well, when I was a teenager, I really didn't think about the future at all, which I think maybe is uncommon. Because as we just talked about before, like when we were kids, we just dream all the time about all these things we're going to do, right? I didn't do a whole lot of that. I thought that I was just limited by who I was and my abilities, and also like my family's income and stuff like that. So when people were dreaming about driving, I never dreamt about that. It's like, sure, I guess maybe someday I'll drive, whatever. But I didn't think that I had the money to pay to do the classes and the test and to have a driver's license and then pay for gas and all of that. So it wasn't something that I ever thought about or dreamed about. And then my 16th birthday came and went, and I hadn't signed up for driver's ed. I didn't think that I could go to college. I had no idea how that worked, or how I would go about it, or what I even wanted to do. I didn't go to college after high school. I ended up in St. George, just living with one of my friends, which turned out to be an amazing thing. It was great, but it didn't come from any future focused thinking or dreaming. So I was just kind of going with the flow. I was letting life kind of push me wherever. I wasn't thinking very deliberately. When I was in high school, I was doing a lot of thinking about when I was in junior high. I was like, oh, life was good back then. Like, I had these great friends, and I didn't have depression, and I wasn't dating yet, and so there wasn't all this drama around that. And so when I was in high school, I was thinking like junior high was where it was at. And then I did something similar again as an adult, where I had kids and it was really hard, and I think about like it was better, like I had more control before I had kids. And then I had all this guilt for being like, why don't you just enjoy your kids and love being a mom? And what's wrong with you? All this drama, right? So here's kind of what I think about adolescence, okay? And the typical growing up experience is that we have someone say to us, hey, this is your course of life. You are going to go to school. You are going to get a driver's license. You're going to graduate high school. You're going to go to a college. You're going to get a career. You're going to have a family. Okay, that is your life course. And we accept that, a lot of us, and then we go about creating it. We dream it. We dream of having that license. We dream about graduating high school. We dream about the things we're going to do with our friends. We dream about our future spouse. We dream about what career we're going to have. And we go out and we create those things. But then what happens after you get those things? Then what? Where's the rest of your timeline? Where's the rest of your life course? We got the things. Now what is there to do and to look forward to? I think that we reach this point and we don't know what to do with ourselves anymore. And it's especially hard for those of us who are women, for those of us who have depression, and for those of us who thought we were going to be good at parenting and then we weren't. So what I want to suggest is that maybe that time of our lives where people were telling us what our life trajectory was going to be, and then we dreamed about it, and then we created it, maybe that was practice. Like, what if your past and the dreaming you did as a kid was just practice for now? Like someone told you this will be the course of your life, and then we got to take that and run with it. Just like now, we don't have someone telling us this is the life path for the next 20 years of your life, for the next 40 years of your life. We don't have someone telling us that. So we can either come up with a life path of our own, start dreaming again and creating again, or we can just let life happen to us, right? Like I said, I didn't used to think about the future. I thought I was very limited as to what I was going to be allowed to do. And now I think about it all the time. Now I realize that really the future is completely limitless. There is no limit to what I can or am allowed to do and create. Life doesn't end after 25. It doesn't end after 30. So for those of you who think that your future is limited, I suggest that you stop thinking that. And for those of you who don't think about the future at all, I suggest you start. Because nothing ever stays the same. And everything is possible. Everything is figure-outable if you're willing to put in the work. Okay? And goals are the equivalent of rowing that boat in the ocean, right? You decide what you want and then you start rowing. So here is how you look to the future without the expense of enjoying the present, okay? First, you're going to sit down and you are going to brainstorm like crazy. You are just going to dream of all the craziest things you can dream of that you've ever thought about doing, that you could ever possibly want to do or have or create. And there are no wrong answers, okay? Because there's going to be this little voice being like, but that's not possible. Just tell it, yeah, I know, and it really doesn't matter because we're just dreaming right now. We're just going to write down the dreams. Okay, so do that. What do you want for your life? When do you want to have that thing? Okay. And then you're going to narrow it down to like a 90-day goal or a 30-day goal. So if it's something that you want to have in 2 years, first figure out the halfway point. Like halfway point is 1 year. I need to be halfway there by then. That includes these 3 things have to be met or something like that, right? And then narrow it down to 6 months. What do you have to do in that 6-month period? And then what do you have to do in that 3-month period? And then what do you have to do each month, okay, to get you going toward that goal? And think about the actions that need to be taken and the results that you have to start creating in that time to get to the ultimate goal that is 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road. And then you start rowing, right? And it's the rowing that is right now, that is your present. And that's what's real. And there's going to be some adrenaline and there's going to be some struggles. And around you, you're going to have sounds and sights and smells and people that you'll meet and have in your life. And you get to take all that in and enjoy all of that while keeping an eye on your goal, your guiding star, basically, to which you would continuously rowing while enjoying these things. And all the while knowing that when you get there, there is not going to be any better than here. It's just going to be different. It's going to be different sights and sounds and challenges. But you are in control. You got to choose. You're not just going wherever life pushes you. So it's the rowing. It's the small, consistent things that you do that determine your course, right? They determine the angle and the trajectory, and it's those little things that can completely change where we're headed. So you think, what am I doing right now that is going to bring me to that goal? And am I living and enjoying those things right now? Am I paying attention? Am I experiencing all of it? The good, the bad, everything. And one more amazing thing that you can do to help you get to that goal is to picture it in your mind. Go to that future place and sit down with your future self and really visualize what you look like, what you're doing, how your life looks, the people who are around you, all of it. Really visualize it and sit down and ask that future self of yours, how'd you do it? How'd you get here? How did you get the patient? How did you create more patience in your life? How did you create more abundance in your life? How did you have more compassion? Like all the things, right? How did you get this and that? How did you become the person that you are today? Because your future self contains some amazing wisdom. And I'd like to argue that this is probably something that you did when you were younger, right? You would imagine yourself being in college. And how did you get there? And, oh, well, you had to work hard in high school and you had to put in the applications and you had to do all the things. And so those were the things that you did. So that's what you have to do now. You have to look to your future self and gain wisdom from that future self. Because looking to your past, like we've discussed before, you can gain some information, but it can be limiting. It can tell you, like, you might take that information and be like, okay, well, this is what I've done in the past, so this is all I'm capable of doing in the future. And that is not true. If you look to your future, the future that you want to create, the person that you want to be, they are far beyond where you are now. They can tell you how to get there. So keep an eye on your future goal. Decide intentionally what it is you want. Remember that there is no limit. And enjoy the journey, my friends. All right, I will talk to you guys next week. Have an amazing Christmas, by the way. It's coming up. I hope you've got your shopping done.
All right. Love you guys. Bye.